We're all doing the same thing. Okay, so first of all, I would just like to invite everybody to take some nice deep breaths in. Feel the earth under your body, ground in. Nobody in this group needs training in the apartment.
Su चल रही है. Alright. Beautiful.
So just so you know, we're not here for information. Okay, we're here for transformation. This isn't a talk, it's a transmission. Okay? So let us breathe together and unify the field. So today I was going to just share an origin story about how I became the founder of the Quantum Activations Center down in San Diego. Raise your hand if you've been to the Quantum Activation Center before. Yeah. Great. Back in 2009, in May 23rd of 2009, I was sleeping in my bed, and earlier that day I actually lost my watch, but that's a whole different story. I was sleeping in my bed and I heard this massive commotion outside my apartment, and I heard somebody yelling, "I'm gonna kill you." So of course that woke me up out of a deep sleep. I got up, put my pants on, went outside, and this big burly dude was out there just trying to beat this girl up right next to my apartment. And I yelled at him. I go, "Hey, I noticed there was my watch. He was standing right there on my watch." Okay, I found my watch and I yelled at him and I go, "Hey, nobody talks to a woman like that on my watch." Oh, thanks, bro. So I only have 20 minutes to share the story, but I'm going to be writing a story, perhaps a book about the near-death experience. But I wanted to share it with you today. This is only the third or fourth time that I've actually talked publicly about this. And so, you know, it's kind of an emotional story, and I'll just keep it simple and basic for everybody. More or less what happened was the situation escalated. I went out there and tried to de-escalate it, and I really did go out there and say, "Hey, like, you know, shut the fuck up and get the hell out of here," because it's 3 o'clock in the morning. And the guy came over and just bumped his chest up against me, and he's like, "Or what?" You know. Okay, so I said, "All right, hold on. It's not like that, you know. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. You're waking everybody up. And look, this poor girl's scared over here." And then a few of my other neighbors came out to join the fray. And next thing you know, this guy stands back and he's like, "Oh, I'll kill all three of you." You know, he was ready to go. He was on drugs, or he was drunk, or something was going on with this guy. And I was like, "Man, can I call you a cab? You know, can I like give you a ride home or something? Because let's just de-escalate and whatever." And I said, "Look, this girl over here is totally terrified." And as I turned my head to look, he just came back with everything he had and just sucked me right in the head. Okay, and it knocked me out unconscious. And I went backwards, just hit my head on the ground. And I remember this sense of like urgency, like I tried to stand up. I couldn't move my body at all. And for a moment, I was very confused. Why can't I move my body? I was trying to stand up on my leg. And I realized that I wasn't actually in my body anymore. I had died from him hitting my head on the ground. So I went from being asleep in my bed at 3 o'clock in the morning to being dead on the sidewalk outside my apartment. It's kind of a drastic experience. And you can imagine it might be very shocking to have that experience. But I was more curious by that. I was like, okay, wait a minute. That's me down there. Then where am I? What is this place? I wasn't afraid. I wasn't angry. I wasn't sad. I had no emotions except pure bliss and peace. And then I started feeling like a tractor beam just pulling me away from this place. Okay, and just imagine, like close your eyes and imagine you're in a spaceship just going far and far away from Earth. And it just kept getting smaller, smaller, and smaller until you couldn't see it anymore. Got eyes closed. And then I was just basically floating in deep space in pure bliss. And I came upon a planetary system that I didn't recognize. Some people may have near-death experiences. They talk about the tunnel of light, and it's my grandma or my uncle or my family of origin. And I ended up on a different planet that I now know to be the Pleiades system. Okay, and my family was the Pleiadian family of light. And when I landed on that planet, just imagine like this whole group right here, and this is the emotional part, but I'll try not to get too emotional about it. Okay, so I was completely surrounded by this family. It was like a reunion, and I never felt any more deep love in my entire existence than that. And it was this pure, compassionate love, and it was like I felt like I was home. And this lasted for a really short amount of time. It's like, okay, you're here. It's like a pit stop in the race drive. We're gonna put some new tires on you, shine up the front, clean the windshield off, give you a little pat on the butt. Get back out there. Go on. So I was like, okay, no. Fucking front door, okay? I'm not going anywhere. I want to stay right here. And they said, no. You have a mission. You need to come back to this, I'll be polite, prison planet, sorry. So anyway, I understood about this awareness beyond the body, though. No, I don't know. Okay. I understood this deep awareness beyond our body, and like when you leave this body behind, what remains? Your pure crystalline light body remains. And you experience that in such a profound way. And then as I was protesting having to come back here, I woke up on the ground in my body again. Okay, yeah. And my two neighbors were fighting this guy. Anybody ever watch hockey? Okay, so like Gia over here with this hoodie on. Okay. So my neighbor had this guy's, he was doing one of these, fighting this guy. Okay. And I was like, yeah, kick his ass. Get down, what? What's that? Relaying underwater? No, I wouldn't. So prior to this experience, I was a cell phone company owner. Okay, I worked with plumbing companies, heating companies. We did these little two-way radio things and had all these business solutions, and it was really cool. Wi-Fi, first credit card processing, transmitters. And it was a very abrupt return. I had a double skull fracture. Okay, I had a broken neck. In the hospital, they wanted to do immediate surgery on me. Does anybody know what a halo brace is? They wanted to put me in a halo brace. It's kind of bored. And all I could remember was just like, this, get me the fuck out of this hospital. I don't even want to be here. And then a few minutes after that, the surgeon came in. He's like, all right, here's the good news and the bad news. The good news is that your eye is just too, your eye is just too super inflamed right now. Because I'll give you the quick story. After the guy hit me, the police came, an ambulance came to put me on a flatbed gurney, put me in the ambulance, put a neck collar on me. And they said, okay, well, we're going to take you to the hospital, you're in serious condition. I was like, I can't go to the hospital. My son, who was 14 years old at the time, was staying over at my house that night, and he had a lacrosse game at 7:30 the next morning. And I was like, I can't go to the hospital. Who's going to take my son to his lacrosse game? And they're like, okay, sign right here on the clipboard. And I'm not kidding you. I started sweating, and I was about to throw up on the ambulance. And they said, get him off. And I'm not even kidding you. One of the EMTs basically put his foot in my back and kicked me off the ambulance so I didn't throw up on it.
Oh.
Okay, so here I am, like sitting on my hands and knees on the sidewalk outside of this ambulance, like throwing up all over the place. So I went inside my house and I did what anybody else would do if you had pieces of brain coming out of your face and snot and everything coming out. I blew my nose, and it saved me from having surgery. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you to blow your nose if you ever have anything like that, but the doctor said, hey, there's just too much swelling. They were going to take my eyelids off, pull my eyeball out, put some plates behind it, screw the halo brace in, and you have a nice day.
So why did they say, get you off the ambulance?
Yes. Yeah, they did one. And as I was sitting there on the sidewalk, I could see the guy that hit me, and he was, getting interrogated by the police. And so it was just like, all these traumas. And so I had to go through this physical change. I went from working every day to 18 months of recovery, physical recovery. And during that time of physical recovery, I was treated by a chiropractor. First, I went on the medical merry-go-round. How many people have ever been on the medicine merry-go-round? Okay, so I went to like 8 different doctors, and not even one of them even put their hands on me and touched me. They're just like, okay, well, here, take this to the pharmacy.
Right.
Okay, take this medication to the pharmacy. Here's a machine you can hook up for the pain in your neck or whatever. And then come back and see us in a couple weeks, and we'll discuss about doing this surgery on your eye. And I don't want to get too far off because I have a lot of things I want to try to cover, but it was basically a radical shift for me. And all the people that I was associated with when I grew up with, my family, I just felt very distant from them, like almost like I did actually die. Okay. And even though I came back, I felt like, who are you? Like I was, as my crystalline body, I didn't recognize them. They're still their carbon self. We grew up together. We ate dinner together. We did all this shit together. But honestly, I didn't feel like any connection whatsoever. And that was a very interesting thing to come to grips with, because it took a while to go through that recovery, but I realized that I was that crystalline being and not like this human being. And so after about 18 months, I have birds. And so I went to the bird store to buy bird food, and there was a sign on the door that said help wanted. And I got a job making $8 an hour working at the bird store for like 6 months. And then I was recruited to work at another cell phone company. And I showed up to work one day after working for them for 6 months, and the doors were closed and the lights were off. And I called the owners like, oh yeah, there was a Sprint operation out of Rancho San Diego. They said, yeah, well, we've been downsized. Like, why the fuck can they tell us about it? Well, because then they think you'll sabotage shit. They want you to just like show up the day that it's over. And so I was driving home that day, and all I could think about, I was remembering that experience of being with my family and what they wanted me to do. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go home and I'm going to start this mission. And I was looking online and I saw this health coach training program. You could help everybody transition to a more optimal life and whatever. And it was a 12-month online program that I signed up for. And I got booted off the medical merry-go-round. I was supposed to have surgery in Beverly Hills. This doctor was going to do a pro bono surgery on my eye. And I was driving up to Beverly Hills for San Diego on a Wednesday for a surgery on Thursday. And this lady from this program called me. And this was a program that is sponsored by the state of California. So if you're involved in a violent crime and don't have the means to get the surgery, then they'll take care of it for you along with other medical care and expenses. And how many people have ever been injured like this before at all? Injured or had to go to the police department a few days after that injury and fill out paperwork? They fucking handed me like 15 pages of paperwork to fill out about what happened with the incident. And one of the first questions was, do you plan to file a civil suit? I'm like, I don't know legal jargon. Does that mean you want me to file charges against the guy or whatever? Am I going to file a separate suit? I didn't know that there was a difference. I went, yes, I'm going to file charges. Yes, I'm going to file a civil suit. Well, saying that, makes it that you're not eligible for this program.
Yeah.
Because guess what? You fucking go pay for it yourself. You know what I mean? And so I got kicked off this stupid medical merry-go-round. And so she's basically called me up and she was crying. She's like, I'm really sorry. There's been a big mistake. Somehow your paperwork made it into this pile and it should never have made it into this pile. And so I had to decide something. I still needed some care at that point. And so I found my way to this neurologically oriented chiropractor in downtown San Diego. And I wasn't doing any of the other care any longer. I'd had an epidural shot. How many people have ever had a stupid epidural shot? Yeah? Okay, so they're like, oh yeah, you can drive yourself here. No problem. We'll be able to drive home from this. And I lived down in Pacific Beach and drove up to Poway to get this procedure done. And they stick this giant ass needle up your spine. And, I was paralyzed for 2 weeks after that. I got in the car to drive home and I'm like merging onto the highway and I'm like, couldn't turn my head to the left whatsoever. I couldn't move my head for like 2 weeks. And they got their $7,500. Okay. And so I went to go see this chiropractor downtown and he started having me go to Pilates classes twice a week. Not Pilates class, but private Pilates with a trainer and doing his adjustments on me. And he said, you know what you should do? You should go and walk 2 miles a day. It'll rewire your nervous system. And I couldn't even sleep for an hour and a half at night. Hard to get up to go to the bathroom. So I said, or you want me to go walk 2 miles a day? I'm like, yeah, why don't you go fuck yourself 2 times a day? Like, call me. Yeah. So I did. I was doing this Pilates. I was getting adjusted. I started moving my body again. And things healed. Your body's designed to run optimally. You give it the right circumstances. And so I started healing. And so I became a health coach. And I was going to do some work with him at his office. He gave me a giant place to speak. I have celiac disease, so I was a re-empowerment coach. It's awesome. That's what I was as a health coach. And I don't begrudge anybody who's a health coach, by the way. I still identify as a health coach to this day. I think it's a really important piece of the puzzle. But I realized that, I went and did speeches at some celiac disease groups. I'd be people, are you a doctor? Are you just like talking out of your ass? Do you really know what you're talking about? You have any credentials or anything? Then I felt like I just needed to get some credentials. And so I was doing this event at City College. It's a span down. We get, homeless military veterans for 3 days. We give them care. We give them a tent to sleep in, cut their hair, adjust their back, and grow. Pen's a good thing for them. And then at the end of that, they get to go back out on the street. Sorry, that's really shitty. Doesn't it sound like it? But during this process, I got to meet a group of about 12 chiropractic students from this school up in Los Angeles. And we were talking about nutrition and the brain and neurology. And I was fascinated by the subject. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And I didn't have 2 dimes to rub together. I got on this like 450cc motorcycle and drove up to Whittier College, or Whittier is Southern California University of Health Sciences. And it was like 50 degrees in November when I left to San Diego. And, if you've ever ridden on a motorcycle and it's 55, and this motorcycle was like just struggling just to go 70 miles an hour, And I was like, I'm determined. I'm going to get up there and go talk to these people. And I got onto the campus, and the first thing that I noticed was this flag flying, and there was this angel, like a figure of an angel. And I thought, this is really weird. I'm here, And I went in, I talked to the lady, and I was just like, oh, there's no way they're going to take me in. I was 43 years old, battered, not the sharpest student in the class to begin with, And I filled out all the paperwork. I'm sitting out there with my motorcycle helmet, and I just thought, you know what? This is never going to work out. And I just went, but all right, Mayor. And I left. I'm walking down the hall, and this lady comes running after me. Where are you going? I was like, I'm going back to San Diego. She's like, what do you mean? You're in. Okay, so that was a big change. And so I went to chiropractic school in 2013, graduated in 2016, had some really good experiences there. So anyway, I started a chiropractic practice in March of 2017. I'm still doing some chiropractic now, but back in February 22nd of 2022 at 2:22 in the afternoon. Okay. Yeah. This lady called me off and she's like, okay, I've got this company and we sell all this quantum technology. I'm like, the fuck is quantum technology? I had no idea what that was. I knew about neurology. I'd studied functional neurology with Dr. Ted Carrick, who has a really amazing program. I went the whole functional medicine route as well. I didn't know anything about quantum frequency medicine. I was just like, what is this woo shit, you know? And so she's sending me an email, and I go and look at her catalog. She calls me up the next day, and without ever knowing anything about these technologies, I bought like almost $30,000 worth of equipment next day. Okay. And then I started training in it. One of them's a nonlinear measurement system called from BioStar Technologies. You put these headphones on, it scans your body, scans your energetic frequencies in all these different parts of your body, your brain, your lungs, your kidneys, your blood vessels, your chromosomes, your DNA. It can identify pathogens, parasites, microorganisms, emotional traumas, and all these things. And then it uses frequency, like neurofeedback, to retrain you. And I was like, okay, it sounds crazy, but during the training, I was the subject. And I got to witness all these really profound and amazing changes. The second thing I bought was a Rife machine. Who knows about Royal Rife? A bunch of people do. And so these are plasma frequencies, and you can use plasma frequencies for like a strep virus. You know, opera singers, they hold that glass out and they go, shatter the glass. Well, Rife frequencies shatter the cell membranes of these pathogens. And so I was like, oh my God, we're going to do all this, you know, I'm sitting here like every day, like ever, you know? And I think that's cool and everything. It does definitely activate your brain. And I'm not just aligning your spine. I'm realigning your remembrance of who you are, you know, and those spinal distortions can really block you from that memory. But anyway, so I continued my evolution into frequency medicine and quantum technology. A bunch of people here have been to the Tesla light before, and I bought over $70,000 of Tesla lights, okay? In a few months after having these technologies. I never knew what the hell, I knew about Tesla a little bit, you know, but I didn't know a lot about Tesla. I'd never done the Tesla lights. I'd never experienced it before, but I was just like, yes, this is it. These are the tools that I was told to come back and bring forth to teach people these things. And so that was the birth of the Quantum Activation Center. Thank you. And so our business aggregate coherence, remembrance, and bring in the light. Okay, it started out small. I have a really tiny place. I've got all this technology like cramped into this one little tiny room. Great. And let there be light. Okay. You know, and we're doing events like this. We're collaborating within the community and bringing the technology out. We do expos. I've done the Conscious Life Expo the last 2 years. Thanks for Seth and Daisy for all their help. The Biomed Expo. We did Contact in the Desert. We're doing another event in October and sharing this technology out there. You hear about Freedom Fest? No. But we have some interesting experiences from doing those things, because if you've ever been to the Tesla light before, they're like electrical. It's like, wow. You know, you'd see it and you might be like, holy shit, what is that? Conscious Life is like 35,000, 40,000 people. And we have a booth like right there in the front row. And some people will walk by like, you know, can't see it. And some people walk around the corner like, oh my God, I don't know what this is, but I want to try it. And that's what I feel like this group is all about. Because at first my vision was like, listen, we're going to activate everybody. We're going to change the whole world. And that's a great vision. I'll debunk anybody for wanting to do that. But the reality is that I want you and you and you and everybody that's here doing this work already. This is the family. And we need to empower the family first, because then that just spreads out. You guys become the beacons of light. So we have a vision of creating a new home for this technology that everything can have its own space. Some of the current offerings, I mentioned the Tesla biophotonic light system. There's a big QR code over here. There's a description of some of the technologies. You can go online and check out my website, see what the different technologies are. You're welcome to come down and experience it firsthand. In fact, I have a little raffle that we'll be doing tonight. 3 people are going to win come to our Activate sessions that we do on Tuesdays and Fridays. So we're creating collective conscious unity with a group of 8 people twice a week. You stool the table away and sit on the floor and bang on drums and sing and chant and get activated. It's really fun. Definitely can try it out.
Is that thermography?
No. I have a patient who does thermography that I would refer people to if somebody needed that. And
I worked with that quantum biofeedback device called the Inspirational, which worked with scalar wave, seems similar to your technology. And then also MSA, meridian stress assessment, where you look at the current meridians to see who excessive or deficient. So I'd like you to take a look at your...
Yeah, I mean, there's so many cool technologies out there. And it's like, you could go through the catalog and be like, yes, I want that. Okay, I want that. That's kind of what I've done. I have like all these gadgets now. And they call me like Inspector Gadget, Under Gadget, and I have all these great tools. And I just am excited to get the chance to share them with everybody and spread it out there around the world, So I've got the Roxiva, which many people have had the chance to try tonight. More will get to do it. Wow. The Rife machine, the bioresonance analysis. I started doing this detoxification foot bath thing. That's really disgusting. Oh, yeah, super. It's amazing. We're just using like ionic frequencies to get reverse polarity of your cells, which is the final resting place of all these toxins. And so I always say this to patients, you know what? Sound gross, but you don't go take a shit into a clogged toilet.
Something's afoot.
Yeah, if you're gonna do a detox or a cleanse, and you have to make sure that toilet is cleansed out first. You don't go in it again before that's cleansed out. So that's really cool. There's this far infrared sauna capsule, and if you're taller than me, unfortunately, you're too big for the ride, but it's got your head sticks out of it. There's lights inside the lid through red, green, blue, and red. And then how many people have ever heard of hyperbaric oxygen therapy? Yes. I've got 2 amazing hyperbaric oxygen chambers. And for some reason, when you put that extra oxygen into the body first, and then you go do one of these light technologies, it's an amazing combination. 90% of the energy that's your body makes is coming from oxygen, which is the fuel. And who knows about the electron transport chain, Krebs cycle? Nobody wants electron transport chain. Okay, so it's the rate limiting factor in the 4th part of the electron transport chain. So your body makes energy called ATP, but if there's not enough oxygen there, most of it don't have. When the Earth was formed, it was like 40% oxygen. Right now, we're breathing about 21% oxygen. Okay, and so when you go into the hyperbaric chamber, you're getting 95% oxygen and pressurized, and so it hypersaturates into your blood plasma, which is a liquid part of your blood, circulates throughout your body, activates your lymphatic system, your cerebrospinal fluid. Pretty amazing shit. And then I also got into selling electrolyzed reduced water system, and these are basically electrolysis machines that make molecular hydrogen in the water and create a negative charge in the water that we call living water. So I have a whole discussion about that. So today, kind of things that we're doing, I mentioned about the Activate sessions, for participating in community events like this and joining up with the community. We're collaborating with other facilitators. I've been working with Min and Silvari, doing some events at their places. And we're creating a quantum creation vault of tools and resources. I have a vision for a center in Sedona. Okay. have a vision for a center in Costa Rica. Doesn't that sound cool? And then what we're doing, so this is where we are today, and where we're going now is that we offer like mobile offerings. We bring the Roxiva light. We can bring 2 of the Tesla lights. If you're ever having an event and you want to have us come in and bring some of those things, that's a really like better than having the Hulk show up to your birthday party, you know? So yeah, we're going to be launching a hub somewhere soon, somewhere else. We're doing the Psychedelic Institute event in Los Angeles in October of 2025. Next year in February 26th, the Conscious Life Expo. Has anybody ever been to the Conscious Life Expo before? Yeah, it is crazy energy, crazy place, but it's really like the largest. Yeah, crazy. But if you're energy sensitive, you have to be, careful. It's like for me and for health nerds. It's so good. It is. And so then we did the Contact in the Desert event this year, and we got invited back next year, so that'll be fun. And I would like to invite everybody to come and attend some sessions at the Activation Center in Ocean Beach. Yes. And today, anybody who was here, just tell me that you were here, and I'll give you half off of any session that we offer. 3 lucky winners are going to walk away with the beautiful prize of an Activate session to come join us. And so also in honor of Peace Space, we would like to suggest that everybody make a donation this evening to Peace Space. If you've done a Roxiva session, normally we charge $20 for a 10-minute session. All those sessions are from our love to you tonight. Nobody has to pay anything for those, but we would certainly like to give a heartfelt thanks to Tom and this sacred place that we're all gathering in.
Where we put that in the elephant?
Maybe we can pass a shoe around or hat around or something. The luxury's close.
Such not for cat walk anywhere bound this year. Oh,
Dr. Chris,
yes.
how does everyone get more information as to the sessions? Is it a website?
It's right over here, about a QR code. It'll take you straight to the website. I'll be here all evening. Make sure to tip the waitress. And so now, let's just do a little quick closing and we're going back in. I am Christopher, also known as Solerna, Pleiadian starseed, here to serve the Ascension. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.